10,000 years ago, the deadliest animal that ever lived was already dead. Not from a fight, not from a rival predator, not even from the meteor some of you are already thinking about. Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat, possessing 7-inch fangs and 400 pounds of pure ambush muscle, walked out of the fossil record without a single natural predator on Earth strong enough to hunt it. You have heard the phrase survival of the fittest your whole life. You picture the strongest thing in the room winning. The biggest, the fastest, the most heavily armed monster sitting on top forever. That is wrong. Dead wrong. Tyrannosaurus rex, the single most dominant land predator its world ever produced, gone. Megalodon, a 50-ton aquatic leviathan with a bite that could crush a small vehicle, gone. Every single one of them. The biggest, the strongest, the most feared things alive in their respective worlds. And every single one of them died before the smaller, weaker, vastly less impressive animals living right next to them. This isn't bad luck happening 3 separate times. This is a law. Harvest is running the exact same experiment over and over and getting the exact same result. Build the perfect killer, and you have built something with an expiration date stamped into its bones the moment it is born. By the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why being the undisputed king of the food chain is a biological death sentence. And you are going to understand the chilling reason why you, soft, slow, weaponless, the most pathetic-looking predator nature ever produced, are still here to watch this. Let's begin with the trap of the perfect weapon. Welcome to the nightmare of morphological over-specialization. 15,000 years ago, Smilodon was the flawless biological answer to one specific question. How do you kill something 10 times your size? The answer was a heavily front-loaded anatomy. Built more like a grizzly bear than a cat, it possessed terrifyingly thick forelimbs designed to wrestle colossal megafauna like juvenile mammoths and giant ground sloths to a dead stop. Once the giant prey was violently pinned to the earth, the cat deployed its weapons. Those iconic 7-inch canines were not designed for crushing bone like a wolf. Structurally, they were incredibly fragile. They were serrated biological scalpels. Smilodon would use its incredibly powerful neck muscles to drive those teeth into the soft tissue of the prey's throat, severing the jugular vein in a single surgical strike. It worked. For hundreds of thousands of years, Smilodon thrived across 2 continents, building an empire on this exact strategy. And that success is exactly what killed it. Every single ounce of Smilodon's anatomy was a biological bet placed over millions of years on one outcome: that giant, slow-moving prey would always be there. Then the climate shifted. The giant ground sloths and the mammoths started disappearing. And here is the trap. Smilodon couldn't downgrade. If it tried to ambush the new, fast-moving deer on the open plains and bit into a thrashing, kicking, bony body, those beautiful 7-inch scalpels would violently snap against the bone. Without its teeth, the cat could never hunt again. Picture a master swordsmith in a world that just invented the gun. The skill isn't gone, the muscle memory isn't gone, but the world simply stopped asking the question he spent his whole life answering. While the greatest cat in history was starving to death, something else was doing just fine. The coyote. Smaller, weaker, not the apex of anything. But a coyote eats a rabbit, a bird's egg, a piece of fruit, or rotting carrion. It doesn't need the world to stay the same. It just needs the world to have something in it. That is trap number 1. You might be thinking, that's an Ice Age problem, unusual circumstances. So let's leave dry land completely and go deep into the ocean, millions of years earlier. Same law, same terrifying result. But this time, the trap isn't the weapon, it is the size. For 13 million years, Otodus Megalodon ruled every ocean on Earth with absolute impunity. A 50-ton shark with teeth the size of a human hand. It hunted massive, fat-rich baleen whales as a normal Tuesday. Nothing in the water could challenge it. Then, a much smaller animal showed up. The great white shark. Scientists recently analyzed zinc isotopes locked into the fossilized teeth of both animals. A chemical signature that reveals exactly what an animal was eating. The result was shocking. Megalodon and the great white were actively competing for the exact same prey. But the great white had one massive, undeniable advantage. Megalodon didn't. In nature, mass is never free. It is rented. And the rent is paid exclusively in calories. Megalodon wasn't just huge, it was regionally warm-blooded. To keep a 50-ton organic engine running at pursuit speeds, it was locked into a state of thermodynamic debt. It had to hunt massive whales just to break even. When global ocean currents shifted and the waters cooled, the whales adapted. They evolved thick blubber and migrated into freezing polar waters. Megalodon's massive heat-bleeding body couldn't follow them into the freezing cold. It was trapped in the warm shallows. When food got scarce, the 20-foot great white didn't just survive the shortage, it thrived in it. It could live comfortably on the same prey base that cost a fraction of what the giant shark needed. Megalodon didn't lose a physical fight. Nothing ever beat it in a straight contest of strength. It lost an argument about efficiency that it never even knew it was having. Here is the number that should actually scare you. Researchers studying that exact period found that 86% of the large marine species that went extinct were heavily specialized, locked into one habitat, one prey base. That is trap number 2. Size becomes a massive metabolic debt you simply cannot pay when the food runs out. So far, this looks like one simple rule. Get too specialized or get too big. And when the world changes slowly, you can't keep up. But what happens when the world doesn't change slowly? 66 million years ago, a 9-mile-wide rock hit the Earth at 45,000 miles an hour. And the Tyrannosaurus rex, the ultimate biological sledgehammer, possessing jaws capable of 10,000 pounds of crushing force, was gone in a geological heartbeat. This one feels different. T-Rex didn't get outcompeted. It didn't slowly run out of food while smaller predators adapted around it. The word was erased in an afternoon. So does that break the pattern? A random rock from space, that's just bad luck, right? Wrong. It highlights the most terrifying trap of all, the trophic cascade. In any ecosystem, energy flows from the bottom up. Plants harvest the sun. Herbivores eat the plants. Carnivores eat the herbivores. As an apex predator, you sit proudly at the very tip of this ecological pyramid. You feel untouchable. But in reality, you are balancing on a fragile house of cards, governed by brutal math. Every time energy moves up a tier in the food chain, roughly 90% of it is lost. To support just one massive T-Rex at the top of the pyramid, you need thousands of multi-ton herbivores beneath it, and millions of tons of plant life beneath them. When the asteroid struck, the initial blast didn't instantly burn every dinosaur to a crisp. The impact blasted enough ash into the atmosphere to block the sun for years. No sunlight, the plants died. No plants, the giant herbivores, like the Triceratops, starved by the millions. And the T-Rex, needing massive amounts of meat just to survive, ran out of a food chain that had taken millions of years to build and less than a season to collapse. Absolute dominance makes you entirely dependent on the weakest links beneath you. And right next to the starving T-Rex, in the wreckage of the exact same asteroid strike, small mammals survived. Crocodilians survived. Birds survived. Not because they were stronger, because they didn't need the old world to keep functioning. They were already built for uncertainty. That is trap number 3. It doesn't matter whether the world ends slowly or all at once. Specialists lose either way. Now, think about what we are. No claws that could kill a bison. No fangs. No 60-foot body. No natural armor. If you dropped an early human into an arena with a saber-toothed cat, there is no version of that fight we win on strength. By every metric that made Smilodon, Megalodon, and T-Rex the most feared things in their world, humanity should have been extinct before we even started. But we were never trying to win that fight. While every apex predator in history bet everything on one physical specialization, early humans did the exact opposite. We had no natural weapons, so we learned to make them. We had no fur, so we learned to wear the skin of other animals. We couldn't run fast, so we learned to run far. To track, to persist, to outlast much faster prey until they simply collapsed from heat exhaustion. We couldn't see in the dark, so we stole fire and brought the light with us. When the climate turned freezing cold, we didn't wait 1,000,000 years to evolve blubber. We built clothes and shelters. When prey got scarce, we didn't starve like Smilodon. We switched. We ate fish. We ate roots. We scavenged bone marrow. We learned to farm. We were not specialized for anything, and that meant we could adapt to absolutely everything. We weren't the strongest thing in any single world. We were the only thing flexible enough to survive every world. That is the real law of survival. Not survival of the fittest, survival of the most flexible. But here is the part that should sit heavily with you after this video ends. For the last 10,000 years, we have been the new apex predator. We have spread to every continent. We have grown larger, more powerful, and more dominant than any creature in the history of this Earth. And for the very first time, we are starting to show the fatal flaws of the monsters. Right now, humanity is more specialized, more dependent on one specific set of conditions, staying exactly as they are than at any point in our history. We are becoming too big. Our global civilization now requires staggering amounts of energy and food just to keep running. We are the T-Rex of the modern world, and our appetites are enormous. We no longer know how to forage. We no longer know how to hunt. An entire modern civilization built on the massive gamble that the climate stays stable, the digital supply chains stay intact, and the fragile systems keep working exactly as they do today. We sit on top of the food chain, comfortable, convinced of our own permanence, while the world beneath us begins to shift. Every predator in this video was a master of its world, right up until its world stopped existing. The moment you think you have won evolution forever is the moment evolution starts writing your extinction. The question this video leaves you with isn't really about Smilodon or T-Rex or Megalodon. It is whether we are the generalists who will survive what's coming next, or whether, for the first time in human history, we have quietly started building the exact same fatal flaw that killed every one of them. Out of the prehistoric titans we cover today, Smilodon, Megalodon or the T-Rex, which one do you think never stood a chance? And which one do you think almost made it? Tell me down below. I read every single comment. If you want the raw, unfiltered truth about how this world really works, the lessons written in bone and extinction, hit subscribe. This is Primal Dominion. Stay adaptable, and we will see you in the next one.